Welcome, friends, curiosity seekers, and connoisseurs of fantasy. The realm's over. You have arrived once more at the Port of Dark, and today I have the inestimable pleasure of spending some time with everyone's favorite patrician.
Only patrician.
Only patrician. And actually, we're going to get to that.
Oh, no.
So, Donny Hyland, welcome. Thank you for taking time out on this storming Sunday to come and chat.
I'm happy to be here as Donny, not Titus. Yeah. I'm always afraid I'm going to die. As Donny, I think I'm okay. Maybe.
Probably. We're mildly fond of you in these parts. We were talking a little bit about this before the cameras are rolling. How does it feel to be in studio with just us chickens?
It makes the studio feel so large, but at the same time, it's always larger with everyone being here too. You know, it's just like the energy is always there. I mean, it is here now, just because, once again, most elaborate scam ever. Mm-hmm. But no, I mean, it's just, you get to kind of look back and see the impressive table, everything that goes into it. And I feel like sometimes when we're in kind of rushing on a Tuesday, it's nice that I can have the time to appreciate it. And like, I love this studio, every player, it's just impressive, man. I love it.
How does it feel to not have people walking by your chair every time you turn around?
It's kind of nice. Yeah. I mean, no secret's going to get past me this time.
No, that's true. That's true. So for those who haven't heard the stories, which are going to be most of our faraway friends, who is Donny Hyland?
I am a brother of 6 siblings from Youngstown, Ohio. I moved to Austin because I was working remotely over COVID for my job that I used to have to commute an hour and a half there and an hour and a half back every day for 6 years. Mm-hmm. So I basically was like, well, if I move 27 hours away by car, they won't ask me to do that. And I just kind of chose Austin as a whim. Just heard a lot of people were moving here, heard a lot of good things. And, why not? From there, I didn't want to meet everyone I knew at a bar, so I joined the Facebook D&D casual gaming and saw a post that looked too good to be true, and it ended up being too true that it was too good. And I basically auditioned for it, talked to you. It was 100% meant to be. And I always wanted to play D&D. It was just, friends, commitment, and people not wanting to learn anything. So it was nice to finally dig my toes into this game. And I've been playing for 2 years. This is obviously the most preparation game I've ever played for. But I love silly voices. I love acting. I like doing voiceover work. So it's nice to play someone serious, because usually I am the comic relief.
Typically, you're playing a more comedic or lighthearted character.
Yeah, it's usually either a wizard named Whistling Willie, Gee Willikers Feathers, or Mycroft Luckenbuckle the Bard.
Hi everyone, Mycroft Luckenbuckle of the Honeywell Luckenbuckles.
And Torquil Parnassus.
Don't worry about it. Oh, yeah.
Basically, William Butcher from The Boys is where I got that voice, with a little bit of Daniel Day-Lewis from Gangs of New York.
I mean, I feel like Daniel Day-Lewis is just kind of woven into your DNA at this point.
I can't ever think about him. Yeah, you're not wrong. Last night I was watching clips from Lincoln.
Stepped out upon the world stage.
And working on a new voice for Richard Harris impression. Oh, those dreams roam like a whisper.
Which perhaps at some point we will get you on camera as Rutilius.
Yes, I have the costume and I have 2 things written, so we're good.
That should be really nice. That'd be really nice. We still have to figure out how to make that work logistically.
Proper candelabra.
Bullseye lantern.
100%.
Or a cantrip candle.
If they give me a few dice.
You've been lusting after that die, haven't you?
I'm thinking about smashing the candle tails.
Blasphemy, but no, I
it's your presence under the Christmas tree in November. You just want to see them. But they're there. So you can have them.
Literally under your nose. You're smelling it. Yeah, yes. No, it's true.
It's awesome.
So, as I have asked many other people, what place does gaming occupy in your life?
Honestly, my most favorite. I love games. I love playing games. I like being fun, whimsical, also serious. And I think it was the first roundtable we had. I always loved it, but it's nice to have an opportunity to shed the responsibility and not be me for 4 hours a week. Like, that is the most therapeutic thing possible. Because when you are playing a character like Titus, everything is cut and dry, right and wrong. And it just kind of feel like it bleeds into my life and kind of makes it easier for me to make the right calls, decisions, make the right relationships, and, try to be a great friend and, great partner, family member, son, brother. Great.
Talk a little more about that. What so there's a concept in particularly the Nordic LARPs, playing for bleed, where it's kind of the point where you're trying to evoke such strong emotion that it bleeds over, into quote unquote real life. What has that process been like for you?
It makes it easier, but harder. It's pushing myself, also pushing others around me just to be better. And the bleed from Titus is that he does the exact same thing. It's not that I never done it. I always thought I was a pretty good person, but it makes me want to be a better person. Makes me want to be a better leader, a better friend, better son, uncle, all that.
How friend? Leader, I understand. How friend?
Encouragement. Kind of like pushing people to do their best. It's and it just makes it easier. It's like I read this one thing. It was Jimmy Carr, I think it was in an interview, and he goes, the key to happiness is your standard of living minus envy. And I always think of that of like, all right, get rid of the envy. I'm okay. It's just, I don't want anyone to ever envy my lifestyle or anything like that, but just getting rid of that, just being present with your friends, making sure that they know how you feel, how you're, making sure that everyone knows that they are loved.
So important, especially when you're playing out a dark campaign like this, where the perils are real, the situations can be really awful, and there's just a lot of different stresses coming from different directions, to try to as the tale unfolds.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, evoking that emotion, it's like everybody has that part of loss, and that's kind of when like life starts, and it's kind of like playing a character going through that, not for the first time, but in some of our solar sessions where we're going through like the loss of the parents. And my dad passing 3 years ago before I moved here, I was like, that was so close to home when we were just sitting at your place playing through that, and I was like, yeah, that was therapeutic. That felt incredible, but having those to pull upon, and also making the story that much more real for me and for Titus, and hopefully for people that enjoy the show. It's like I'm not just, my mom still thinks it's scripted. She has no idea about the indie, but yeah, no, it's
I wish I was that good and could write that quickly.
Oh my God! If I wrote stuff down like that, I wouldn't be doing what I do. But yeah, no, it's very nice to have that North Star, and it's like that encouraging every player around the table, including every person in my life. I like the encouragement. One of the
many things that I've really come to appreciate about this table, because this is the first time for all of us in terms of streaming. Goes. I mean, you had only been gaming for about a year before you joined us, which is not that much time, honestly. And even though I've been jamming for a long time, never anything like this. And so when you have something that difficult and you're kind of in terra incognita, it's really, really nice to have a group that's just pulling for everyone else's success.
Absolutely.
I don't feel like there are any divas at the table. I don't feel like there.
Well, I am, but
well, I mean, clearly,
I'm right here. Right. I appreciate you, but you can be honest.
No, no.
It's my show. No, I'm kidding.
No, no. I mean, we're gonna talk about Titus for sure, but one of the things that I appreciate you, Donny, is that you're a really generous scene partner, where you're definitely hitting your beats, you're definitely conveying the character, but you're also looking to, and I've noticed this particularly, I'd say in the last 6 or 7 sessions, I've really seen you kick it up a notch, where you're actively drawing other people out, which I love.
Oh, I love this.
And I think it makes for a more interesting tale too.
I agree. Yeah. Well, I mean, even when we first started, there's just certain times where a patrician's only allowed to speak. And I know that part of the role for sure, but there's every part a player can make a decision. And when they're there and they're available and I can call upon, I love it. It's just hard when they're in another room or they're somewhere else, but in the game particularly, but I feel like we've grown together and wove like the story together more. And now I'm like, all right, let's all get a different thing. Let's all have not an agenda, but what would that character's agenda be for that character?
It feels like a fellowship now.
Yeah, it feels very real. And it's nice because I know everybody 1,000 times more than I did when I first started. So it's easy to,
Yeah, you didn't know, that's an important note. Out of character, you didn't know any of us before this started. Like Randy, I've been gaming with him off and on for 25 years. Justin, 32 years. Corey, a mere 16 years.
Only.
And even Tatiana, who had never gamed before, I had known for several years beforehand, off and on. So you really trusted us, and you took a step into an unknown on multiple fronts by doing that.
Absolutely. I mean, that was the best thing I've ever responded to. You guys are like my family now after a year and a half. Well, I mean, there was a good period of time where I only knew one guy here and his son. I was like, I'm good on friends, but I'm glad I put myself out there because you guys have been so welcoming.
Oh, as far as Austin goes, right?
Yeah, as far as Austin goes, I was like, I didn't grow up I'm not a hermit. Even though I wouldn't mind being alone every now and again. But no, it's been nice because, me and Allie walking in, not knowing, Tatiana not knowing the game, but getting to know everyone on the same, if anything, that is definitely, a very unique way to grow a friendship.
It is.
This.
Yeah,
and
it is.
Fascinating.
I love it. It's different. I can tell you, Donny, it's having done this for a hot minute, it's different from anything else. And something I wasn't actually in this interview, but this just kind of coming to me. Mm-hmm. Gaming, I noticed this probably back in the 90s. Gaming is the only pastime that I've ever participated in that you truly get a huge swath and cross-section of the country.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's...
At least in my experience. I know, mileage may vary, but that's how it's been for me.
Oh, for sure. I mean, everyone... anyone can play. All you need is dice and
something of an imagination.
Yeah, absolutely. Imagination. And
or a willingness, even if you're not terribly creative at the beginning, it's a muscle. It gets better as you go, and just the willingness to look stupid, and that's fine. To just make mistakes.
My phrase is be the first buffoon. I want everyone to feel comfortable doing anything. Minecraft Luckenbuckle at not Emerald Tower, Dragon's Lair. The first time I played D&D. Oh, and everybody's like, oh, it's like, come on, and then I love that encouraging and that kind of point. And it could be anyone and everyone. I mean, since I moved here, I've played with probably over 28 different people, give or take, online even more. And I'm just constantly surprised by every walk of life. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't? I mean, one of the central premises of this project is that better humans, better stories. Mm-hmm. So, and what humans don't, almost all humans enjoy stories.
Yes.
On some level. Maybe not in this format, but almost all humans.
Agreed.
Do. So, we've been doing that since we figured out how to make noises that represented things with our vocal cords.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's the same as laughter. Trend is 10... I forgot what it was, like a couple 100,000 years before there was any written and or spoken language.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the story. It's like that was the next, because you wanted to make people laugh, and you want to make people feel. And that's why I love this game, because it is just that. It's incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I mean, you're obviously the best,
Yeah. I'm doing my thing. I'm okay.
Shadow monsters in unison? Come on. That's bleed, if you want to talk about it. I saw my sister there. I saw her.
No, I have to admit, the what do you want to call it? The synchronicity of when I'm inhabiting Livia and you're playing Titus, those scenes, I have to admit, are still some of my favorite. I mean, even to this day, I will go back and there are a couple gems in there that I'll watch because I love the interplay and the back and forth. Great. And it was early. It was
that was the first NPC I ever interacted with.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. That was
the first time when we went to do that.
I thought about that.
Yeah, went to our rooms and truly just Yeah, it was hilarious. It was so natural and so quick.
I was like 9-year-olds, I think you were.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you were 9-year-olds. Well,
Right after that, I fought the cook.
Fought the cook.
Stay back, foul beast! I must protect my men.
So,
Started off as a martyr so fast.
I've got a couple. It was always there. It was always there. Yeah. So his soul's path is a dual path. He's the only one who has a dual path, which is defender and martyr. Mm-hmm. Which I really love, and I think you embody that. We'll get to that, I promise.
Oh, for sure.
So, and this, because Justin clowned on me so hard on the last interview with Anika, I decided I was going to be a lot more organized this time because he got me pretty good.
You forgot to ask her about Catra. Yeah.
As the only PC patrician and also the leader of the fellowship, you have the most pressure on you out of everyone in the group, both in character and out of character. In that context, what has your experience been like portraying Titus Metellus Glabriovorn?
It's easy. It took a lot of prep, and I mean, ever since we started off, I've probably written 7,000 words of what I think he would say. Because in the first audition, write this speech. Okay. Never stop that muscle. So when it comes to that, the most challenging things is trying to be kind and firm as Titus, or the Dignitas against Mirror. People been like, why wouldn't you beat the shit out in front of him? I'm like, that just, beat down a broken city and break a broken man. Like those types of things. It makes it difficult because I do want to save my face. I do want to be that patrician. I do want to be that leader. And it's hard.
And you have to be, because you have to have that element to be effective.
Absolutely. And it was until after the Battle of the Broken Tower, until the decision to the island, like before, that was the only time that I'm like, okay, it's so much easier to lead because everyone behind me is pushing me to lead. Like Nilishli, Wesa, Merrick, even the most, it's so easy.
That's pretty remarkable, Donny, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they want. Like, and also I can put some of the pressures on those around the table that I know will succeed them. It's nice to be able to deviate those tasks as opposed to be intense all the time. I can sit back and be a fan because everyone around the table has picked up their story and picked up their characters enough to know that Titus can't do that, but I know who can. And I don't even need to ask. They just pick it up. It's like passing a torch. It's that easy. And it even goes around every single time. And most of the times, all 5 of us are holding that torch. And it's beautiful. When it first started, I felt bad because I had to do the most speaking. It was really great to knock down a player I had to play in another session, Sexist Minor.
Oh, yeah.
That was probably I was like, this is going to be a great show. I was very thrilled with that. Don't interrupt Marcus again. I love that line. And every single time since then, we've grown as players, we've grown as friends.
Let me for our faraway friend, Sextus Minor was the primary tormentor of Merrick during his time in captivity. And he appears in the first episode of the current Chronicle. Yes. And we game through that. Go ahead.
Yeah, and he ever since then I was like, okay. Like it just became easier and easier every session because we grew as friends, we grew as players, our characters grew together. And I mean, it's hard to get 5 different walks of life, 6 different walks of life at a period of time to then have them be a coterie the way that we are now. And now being a patrician, being a leader is so easy in comparison to how I thought it was going to be because of everyone else.
Because of everyone else. Here's another one I wasn't going to ask you, but it just, again, occurs to me. How has it felt different? Because you said 5 and 6 and kind of corrected yourself, and you're not wrong. How has it felt different? How has the energy shifted without the character of Katrin being in the Fellowship? Because it's shifted.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can tell you it shifted.
Absolutely.
Watching it.
It's like losing a sister. She was the first person that we sat down and played with, even before Merrick.
That you did, yeah.
And I mean, I miss her all the time. She was great. That shift too, though.
I've seen some other things happen though that are positive. as
Yeah,
that have come because
absolutely.
people have had to step up, you know?
Oh, absolutely. And it's it's changed the energy for sure. There's a lot of things about Katrin I wish that we would have gotten to know.
Yeah.
Theories and thoughts and
Yeah.
Figulus being just
Super deep
nappies.
character. Yeah.
And it definitely shifted even for me as a fan, for me as a character. That being said, since then, I've seen everyone blossom so much because we all lost someone together and we all lost a character together. And now those characters, every person stepped up to the plate and knocked a home run. And I love that. So the energy has shifted, but, you can't grow without loss. And I think everyone grew together because of that loss.
True. No, that's true. All right. So you're also playing, our audience may not know this, you're playing the most prescribed character of the player characters as well. And what I mean by that was that
You had an idea.
I had a very clear-cut idea of who and what Titus had to be to make the story work.
Mhm.
So, because if he wasn't within these parameters, and they weren't this tight, but they were like, only out to about here, it doesn't work. And you hit on one of our after discussions, Donny, you hit very, very well on this point that Titus really is a 50-50 split of his heritage.
Yes.
He really is the martial aspect of the Vorn, and all of that power and strength and will to live and will to dominate, really, or you wouldn't have survived like the Charnel House and the Broken Tower battle.
100%.
At the same time, he still has all of his Grand Dame's hope for the future, and at least as much of her vision as he can grasp. He's combined those, and you've done it. I mean, you've really nailed like everything. You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
If you go back to, that ad and everything, charismatic next generation nobleman who is a, leader in a time of war, kind of in over his head, but, has a will to live, or, however I phrased it. At the same time, you've undeniably made Titus your own. So how have you done that when you had such what to a lot of people would be like, God, how I don't want to deal with this because, this GM is telling me like this character has to be like this. Yeah. And yet you've imbued him with vulnerability. You've imbued him with humor. You've imbued him with like real tenderness and warmth. How did you go about do that? Or what was that process like for you?
Honestly, when we first started off, our first conversation talking about the story, I brought up Cincinnatus.
Yes.
And just the idea of you have to be the shield, but then being able to give away all power to go back to your life after it's no longer needed. That is basically what I started off Titus with. And then a little bit of Dick Winters, Easy Company, Major Dick Winters from Band of Brothers. The leader, never put yourself in a situation where you can take anything from these men, is always something that I always carried through with Titus. So it's, when I first started off of all the martial class, everything that we did until basically we started streaming on the game, he was Titus Invictus. He was doing the best impression of what he wanted. He thought everyone needed him to be, which was a sword and a powerhouse, a
perfect warrior.
A perfect warrior.
Yeah.
But he wasn't a leader, I mean, there's definitely been the stunted growth of Geromentrum since Vipsenia passed. My grandmother. That being said...
Thank you for that context.
Yes.
We don't know who would be watching this.
Yes. Great lady Vipsenia. Vipsenia Drusa Metella Zosh?
Marilla, but yeah.
Marilla, there we go, yeah. And, hers was the idea of the city, and we were having a conversation after we were driving home about it, of like, the only reason why the city is still here is because it's the unexpressed love after she passed that Titus Invictus can only express, is by keeping her dream alive.
Right, it was never his vision. It was always her vision.
He would have been happy being on a battlefield forever, but...
Unmatched.
Exactly. Yep. And him only ever being able to love that one thing. Julius, my uncle, whose body was stolen episode at the season break, he can have that type of fear, he can have that kind of loss, but I don't think that anything will ever compare to her. So even losing both of his sons and, basically thinking that Garamentum might fall outside of Titus and Olivia, I think that's the only thing that he still has of her is his faith in us. And even then, it's because that we are more like her than we are like him. So making that shift to, okay, the vulnerability of the city, to protecting the city, being able to do something that is actually going to benefit the city by an absolute insane risk, just like starting the city, that is a Lady Vipsenia move. Because I know Titus Invictus wouldn't have left. He would have went around and probably basically conscripted every single person that could carry anything, kind of like how Titus felt about doing it until he knew that the city would be safe. After the city was safe and after he knew that everyone could be protected, like Jerem, Livia, Rutilius, every single citizen, it made it easier for him to want to be more like her than to have to be him, because he's only ever had to be him. So now it's nice because I have to have a really good balance of both her and him.
That's a really interesting statement.
Oh, yeah.
That's a pretty deep statement.
It's true. It's like, you got to pay your bills. You got to do that. Then you can follow your dream. If you start following your dream just immediately, you can stumble, you can fail. It could be harder. You could hit it, but at the same time, you got to make sure that everyone's okay too. And that's that leader in him. And that's how I feel too. I'm like, I got to make sure my house is in order before I can make anyone else's house better.
Which characters, it's interesting, which characters when we're playing Donny do you viscerally in your gut feel the most worried for or the most anxious about protecting or defending or shepherding?
PCs or NPCs?
Both.
Obviously Jerem, that's an easy one.
And Jerem is the ward that he took under after killing the slavers that killed his family. Also, this is just in case if you watch this, he is able to choose his own name when he comes of age. His name is Jerem because he's an orphan of the city. All orphans will have a similar name until they choose their own. And he's that faith, he's that spark. He's basically like what Titus Invictus has for Lady Vipsenia. That's the future for him. So tying a lot of faith into that and into Livia. Livia, obviously. Once again, as I said, like Titus Invictus really was just kind of a sword. So his confidant, his basically father in every single right, Rutilius. And that's why I always say the things that he knows that he can't say back. Because he can't. But I know he feels that way. So I like kind of taking that agency for that. And Rutilius is the
Seneschal.
The Seneschal of the city, Rutilius Apvorn, which means in service to Vorni's lifesworn. He is the last remaining survivor of the diaspora from Fang Prime, from the capital of the empire up to where Jeramentum was founded. All of the other ones now are dead, are gone. And he was the lifelong companion of your grandsire of Titus Invictus.
Yeah, there was like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito and twins.
There's some truth. Yeah, there's some truth. There's some truth to that.
Yeah, and then
it's funny too because your character of the two twins, actually maybe out of everybody except for Julius Metellus, for your uncle, had the best relationship with the old lion, with Titus Invictus, because his relationship with Livia was chilly.
Oh yeah, I mean it was still chilly for me. I mean, like us even being, he saw his hope in that. And he probably saw a lot of her in me when I was young.
He did.
It made me more like him.
And he had more he had more riding on you, though.
Oh, for sure.
He never really understood, your grandsire never really understood your sister.
Oh, no. I mean, neither did my mother.
Nope.
Okay. Start asking those questions.
Oh, don't worry, Donny. I haven't forgotten any of that stuff.
Oh, me neither. Trust me.
You just little baby Titus just has to survive for that to progress.
Yeah, like little crumbs going on, That's all. A couple M&Ms here or there. And so of the NPCs, those are probably the most three that are the clear cut. Obviously, Lady Vale, But that being said, her unknowingness, her out, being worried about someone who can take care of themselves is kind of folly, even though he's still worried. That being said, even if he was there, she would do something better than he could. So he knows that he has his faith in her to make that right call. But yeah, obviously any of the citizens of Jeramentum, for sure. Captain Drusus, like Vivius, Jason.
I saw our latest short, and your reaction to him saying, "I like the cut of his jib," was adorable.
That was funny.
When you looked over to you and Randy shared a look with each other. That was great.
This kid.
And it's funny because it's hard to tell, but at the table, you actually sit. You are diagonally across from each other. You're actually the farthest away that you can be at the table. And the fact that the two of you just knew to look at each other at that moment was hilarious. That was really nice. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Sorry. Anyway.
Oh, no, you're good.
Go ahead. It was cute.
Yeah, I mean, aside from the players that he feels the most responsible for is obviously Marcus, because of his attachments to his family, but mostly that he wants to be the most protective of his wasteland, by far. Mirik, he knows he can trust with his life, he can trust with his family, he can trust with the city. He knows that he'll make the hardest call, even if it hurts him, to make the right decision. And literally, you put her in Fang Prime, and guess what? She'll be somewhere next to the Emperor doing so. Like she can kill. She's a powerhouse, and Allie is too. But yeah, no, I mean, just Wace's character being young, coming into her own. I mean, I'm 2 years older than her in the game. That being said, I'm at 3 years experience of a game or over her.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot.
It's not that, she knows the dice, she knows the rules, she's great, it's incredible, but at that character, just because he does have that kind of big brother energy. He always wants to pull everyone in. He wants everyone to be a family, even if he can't. And that's the hard thing about being a patrician role, is abstaining from those things, is not dancing when we got to the island, is not going to the big buffet that they all cook out, the big long home, having to stay there with the sister, having to make that kind of isolation. Because a lot of the characters see it around, a lot of the audience sees it around, but a lot of the time, Titus is alone. He is leading alone. He is making those decisions. It's him and Livia, but at the same time,
there's only so much she can do.
There's only so much she can do
in your sphere and vice versa.
And there's only so much that I can reveal to the city of who Titus is at his core. So the audience gets a lot more of that, so do the players. But every other person that believes in him thinks about him like a statue.
Who is Titus at his core?
It's just like hope. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not his own. It was thrust on him. So he has to carry that.
I'm going to leave that there because that will unfold in the game, but that's an excellent observation.
Oh yeah. So, it's like, oh yeah, accept the responsibility, accept those things. And, sometimes they are just made you have to. And it's like a testament to everyone else's character that they do trust you,
They do. Yeah, they do. How would you have felt with Katrin, or how did you feel with Katrin in terms of levels of protectiveness?
Like the same as I would for Livia or Waitsa, 100%. I mean, it was that.
Even though she was even though she was powerful.
Powerful, for sure. Fragile.
That's true, too. Yeah.
And her...
Gotta love those will-working hit points.
Oh, yeah. And it's like, even more so, though, like, just knowing that it was isolated from her family, and her only family was Figulus and me, and Livia, until everyone else, and just knowing that, not having that nuclear family experience made Titus immediately gravitize over, and he's like, come on, come in, and just like, all right, this is you. This is who you are to me. Even if you don't feel it, I don't care. I'll make you love me eventually like a brother.
Yeah, Titus didn't really have much of a nuclear family. I mean,
in his own way.
On paper he did, but like it was, the relationship with the father. Yeah, I don't know. I've even like toyed with re-recording that or something, but it's just, we'll lose the magic of it.
True.
Eventually, one of these days, Donny, I'm going to write. I think I'm going to write the diaspora up to the
13th year,
up to the Battle of the Bloody Shore, and then some of the back.
Game. Yeah, Titus has a journal.
Some of the back.
There's a lot of things we could go back and revisit.
Some of the back history, just because it's really rich, and it continues to resound.
And felt too natural. It was playing through those together and making those decisions. You allowing me to make those decisions to make Titus my own.
Super important.
Made it and that's what makes it easy. Because I know that everyone around the table, and including the head of the table, encourages me to make it real. And it's very easy when you have a dungeon master that can do that and encourages everyone to do that.
Oh yeah, I want everyone to to know their character, inhabit these characters, and have agency with these characters. I think the promise that I gave everyone at the beginning, and I believe I reiterated this in the first episode, was that there are going to be times that the characters can be overwhelmed, and even destroyed, but that I'm always going to respect the characters for who and what they are.
Oh, for sure. They're friends at this point. I love it.
Like, I don't like, and to be clear, I mean, this is going to air after the next session. So
hopefully I'm still here.
So hopefully Titus is still alive, but like that could be a very, very difficult session. And I don't want, just as a person, as the teller of this, as the teller and the chronicler of this tale, like I don't want these characters to die.
You're as attached to them as I am.
I love these characters, and I know I want to see them grow, and I want to see them explore, and I really do.
It's not Toby's character.
Just not Toby.
I'm kidding. That's the best role play ever. Oh man,
he's a banger, man.
Undeniable.
He's so good. He's so good.
Said it every time. I was like, man, I hate you. That's how good you are.
You guys were joking about maybe Tatiana's character will get to kill his character again.
Oh God, yes.
Chop his head off again.
One can pray.
So I wanted to ask, Titus is Titus would be the most classically identifiable figure in most fantasy games in terms of being the hero, quote unquote, the hero or the chosen one. What does heroism mean to you?
If you believe you're one, you're not. Everyone has to believe that you are one. And you'll in every single book that had to do with the military, show, anything, they always go, oh, I wasn't a hero, but I served next to him. And that's a very, very key thing for Titus. And for me. And it's like, Sully Sullenberger, the guy who landed on the Hudson.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people are going, oh, I'm not a hero, like that. Because you have to have people believe in you for it to actually be real. So for him to be the hero of the story is only if everyone around him needs him to be. It's the hope. It's thrust upon you. If they look back in history about how people write about him, but he'll never write himself as one. He'll write himself as doing what he had to do, born to do, and what everyone needed him to be.
What are the elements? So would you say those are the three elements of heroism then? Carrying out one's duty
to others, yeah, absolutely.
To others, okay. Whether you want to or not.
Someone has to get the job done.
I can't remember if I've said this on stream or not before. There's a Japanese word, giri, G-I-R-I, which is usually translated as duty. It's not a sufficient translation. It's more like the interconnected web of human obligations, one to the other.
100%.
And I always think about that the concept of like an interconnected web of different obligations and duties and also love, but you can be obligated to something and have no love for it at all.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. But he's happy that his own dreams aligns with others. It makes it easier for him, but it's still, he would never consider himself a hero.
Do you consider Titus the hero?
Yeah, as a fan, 100%.
Yeah.
Guy rules.
He's handsome too.
I think so. But that character bleed does kind of make it hard because I know that he's not anything without his sister. He's not anything without Merrick, Nilishli, Marcus, Wesa, Rutilius. He's a part of a heroic idea. I don't think of him as a hero, though. I think of him as a brother. That's how I feel about him when I think about it.
Let's see. I have them in a certain order, and I don't know if I like that order or not. Yeah, okay. I'll stick with that. How do you get to the vulnerable places when you're playing this character? Because you do. I don't know if we're ever going to air it, but just because of the production quality, and that's a continuing, conversation that we have around here. But man, I would love to air the episode of Aurelius Field.
Me too. Yeah.
That really, really got me. It wasn't as obvious as some of the streamed episodes, but like what I was feeling inside, Donny.
Oh, agreed. I mean, that's how I felt playing Perrin.
When you told the ghost, when you told the ghost, it's okay, go to your son, you can go home. Like, ugh.
And yeah,
You found
Aurelius
that
Field,
place. Yeah, you found that place. How?
Aurelia, Junius, Wilhelm, and that was the conversation that I had with Nilishli about where she came from too.
Yeah,
For any of the fans.
Yeah.
And that was the first session Allie ever played.
That she was born of a mother's love. You're right. It was.
Yeah, absolutely. The heart's beating your chest. Can't wait to use that line. It's hard, but at the same time, playing him as a character makes it a lot easier for me to get me there. Because usually I'm pretty shut off to most emotions as Donny Hyland.
Mm.
I'm not that emotional as a person unless if it's happy and whimsical, you know. Yeah, no, it's just, there's always things that you could pull from.
I experience you as an incredibly sweet person, by the way.
I appreciate that. I love you.
I love you too.
And yeah, I don't know, getting to those spots. Because we've all had loss, you know, and it's just kind of like pulling on that. And knowing I have a duty to you and to this story to tell what we came to tell.
Mm.
And that pressure, responsibility, and that privilege that you gave me makes it very easy for me to be vulnerable as Titus.
God, what a statement. I just need to feel that for a second.
Yeah, because it's not even about us. It's about the people that aren't here, you know?
Yeah. No, I as I just finished on the little side project that I'm doing, this GM's journey. This was not, and you already know this. This was not the tale that I was going to tell originally. This campaign 2 is actually what I was going to tell, which is still not a quote unquote typical fantasy campaign, but it was very different.
Absolutely.
And it was not going to be a war story. I mean, it was going to have elements of war in it, but not like this. And yeah, no, without getting into all that just yet.
Join the Patreon. I'm kidding.
Shameless plug.
You want to see us cry?
No.
You will.
No.
No. See, that's my normal go-to is to make a laugh for us.
Yeah. No, I've I keep the aptly named trauma bag, the little combat trauma bag that I would carry with me into battle to try to prevent my Marines from dying. I keep that literally right at my feet, and whenever I'm like kind of flagging, because it can be hard, it can be really hard sometimes. Jamming this table
For sure.
can be really hard sometimes, and I'm not talking the rules or whatever. And that's all, you know. That's
mechanics.
That's you know, whatever it is, or you know, trying to find the right words or whatever. I'm just talking emotionally. It can be incredibly difficult and draining to, and I'm sure to play at this table too. And so sometimes when I'm flagging, I'll kind of like literally just nudge it with my foot. And to remind myself, you know, that I have this incredible privilege, that we have this incredible privilege to be alive, to be in a studio, this beautiful studio, and all of this, you know, playing a game and telling a tale.
Absolutely. Yeah. It is every day wake up, say thank you. You know, I love it.
Gratitude's super important. To your earlier point, Donny, when you were talking about, I think it wasn't comparison, it was something else. About
key to happiness?
About key to happiness, yeah.
Standard of living minus envy.
Standard of living minus envy, yeah. What popped into my head was the saying that comparison is the thief of joy.
Absolutely. Yeah, Teddy Roosevelt.
So was that Roosevelt? I thought that was coming from a very different source, but fair enough.
Oh yeah, no. He's the best. I love him.
Teddy. Yeah, Theodore Rex. Read 2 books on him. Hell of a president.
Psycho, but yes.
So
they all are
determined. I'd take that psychotic over a lot of
psychotics now.
Modern iterations
for sure.
So one of the one of the later questions here for you is, what are the joys? What are the true joys of playing Titus? We've talked a lot about the difficulties and what you've had to do, but what makes your heart sing as you're playing this character?
The same as everything that's difficult about playing him. You know, okay. I love it. It's fascinating. It's very fun. And especially like everyone who does play D&D or any table game in their home, in a store, anywhere, there is just not the level of isolation that we have been given in this studio. And having this stream and having people watch us and having that responsibility. So like every joy of that is that there's no distraction. There's nothing here outside of what is now. And what is
aside
now.
From the mics and the cameras and the intermission.
I was so nervous about it the first time we had that stream, and tell you what, I don't notice the cameras until Justin comes in and changes them when we first sit in. And then after that, I'm just hanging out with friends. Gonna die with friends, once more to the Breach Deer friends. You know, it's that's what makes it so fun, hard, easy, and just like present. I don't know. A gift and now. I love it.
You said responsibility. Why?
I don't want to let anyone around this table down. Anyone who's watching the stream, you or myself. So that's the responsibility. Because my entire phrase this year is my New Year's resolution is be a fan of everyone.
I remember you saying that. Yeah.
And I have to be a fan of myself.
Yes,
for this game, I'm not like that kind of guy, crazy. But no, I want to be a fan of everyone. I want everyone to be a fan of this, and I want everyone to be a fan of every character and be a fan first, and it just makes it so much easier. It makes it so much more fun to be a player. I mean, honestly, I had no interest in going to the island as Titus. Titus had no interest. But seeing everyone around, and when they pause about perhaps we should take that trip, longest pause that Titus had, and it was probably about 8 seconds, and I said, to the island. Your reaction, and I got to see Anika and Tatiana and Allie, Corey and Marcus as fans go. And it's like my favorite thing to go back and rewatch it. I'm like, yes, that's what because I had the same exact reactions to what they say and what they do. And when I'm not Titus, when I am Donny just sitting around the table, and those reactions, those feelings that we want to know more, we want to know just as much as every person who can want to know what happens. But we get to choose what happens, and that's what makes it just so, the responsibility that much higher because of the people around the table, people that aren't around the table.
Right.
Yeah.
That's okay. No, that's good. That's clear.
Everyone has that, especially when Allie's just like, I do not know, and everyone's like, it's like, she crushes it every time. It's so funny.
The woman like radiates charisma on the camera. It's quite impressive.
Yes, absolutely.
It's like she's used to being in front of a camera, Donny.
Some would think. I thought she worked at Walgreens.
I think she should. I think she should look into a career as a model. You know.
Yeah, maybe
she might do okay.
Yeah, I'll see if I can call a few folks.
So, favorite scene? Titus. That's been on stream.
On stream.
I've asked various...
To the island, yeah, that was probably one of my favorites.
Okay.
Another one, reaction to knowing that Katrin was gone with Olivia and Wesa. Our interactions, brother and sister, Shadow Monsters, that's too good. That was too funny and too perfect.
That was...
making Mirka Shinturian.
Episode of that, but...
making Wesa the advisor. It's the only honor I'm capable enough to give to someone of your regard.
That was a really nice scene.
Yeah.
I really liked that. I really appreciated that and enjoyed that. I enjoy being surprised as the game master.
Yeah, I love being surprised as Titus, dude. It's so great.
This is kind of going beyond the scope of this interview in particular, but I'll touch on it that how interesting it is to me. I know I have a very clearly defined GMing style when I'm doing a home game. And I'm infamously secretive. I mean, to the point of like putting out false character sheets when I know that players would like to look at my character sheets, that kind of thing.
That's when you got to be a fan first. I don't want to know.
and or
scrolls right there.
or rolling dice and making sure that only certain colors of the dice are counted, so that they're like freaking out about how many dice I'm rolling, that kind of thing. So they're not.
I love that.
Because some very tactically minded players will look over and they'll roughly know by the noise how many dice you're rolling, and so they'll know what level you're casting it at, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's true.
I've been through all of that.
Oh,
I've been through all of that. I'm a sneaky boy. And running the stream has been very different, because I have to figure out like what makes for a better, in my mind, televised story.
Mm-hmm.
And yet I never want to compromise the integrity of the story.
Yes.
And it's a fine
That's a very
line.
odd balance.
It is an odd balance, because normally, Donny, and you've never had me as a GM outside of this, so normally I would talk for hours and hours with you about stuff that's happening and get your theories and things like that. And sometimes we can do that, but
About what has happened.
happened.
Could, which is very difficult, but I love it.
It's a different, I don't know, it's a different, and some of that I know is kind of even contradictory, but no, it's been a, you used the word fascinating earlier, it's been a fascinating dance to try to figure out something this deep into my career as a GM, and really new, like a really new approach to what makes the best story for people who aren't at the table, and yet still is true to the story. Because I'm never going to rig dice to keep characters alive. I'm not going to do any of that. I
wouldn't want to be in this game.
It wouldn't feel correct to me.
Absolutely.
So, okay.
Yeah, no, that's got to be extremely difficult. And you've given me everything that he would know. Not everything that he might want to know, could help. No, it's everything that he just knows. Because we've either played through it in experience, we've had those conversations, and just having that as like a quiver before going in makes it so easy to play a character. And the decisions that I made in the past are the same decisions that I have to make now, or from his perspective of what has happened in the past. So that is so fun. And that's what makes it, I don't care about the dice as much as I care about being able to make my own agency with him.
I have, and your rolling has gotten so much better than it was at the beginning of this game. Although you did start off even first session.
I want some of Katrin's ability points.
So,
yeesh,
let me see if I can get these. These are popping into my head, and I know we only have so much time. So,
for sure.
Biggest hope for Titus.
He doesn't let his friends down.
Okay.
Oh, like everyone doesn't let anyone down. His hope is the fact that other people's hope will not be shattered.
Okay.
Defender martyr.
yeah. No, that's fair. And there's another one in there. It's gone now. Oh well.
Oh, come back.
Anything else? Anything that we haven't covered that you want to say, that you want to have memorialized, so that when your mother goes back and watches this,
oh yeah,
I'm teasing you a little bit, but not, because
I might as well put it into Spanish. It'll probably make more sense to her. She doesn't speak Spanish. Honestly, I'm just honored, excited, thrilled, happy. At times frustrated too. It's just like, it invokes a lot. I am nervous every Tuesday, all day, until the second you say, welcome everyone. And then it's just fine. It's just an odd pressure all day for no reason outside of that.
Tell me about that, Donny.
Because I'm just like, man, am I going to blah, blah, blah? Every thought's running through my head as Donny about to play Titus and all that. And then the second that it goes, I'm just like, Titus, cool. And I just, nothing else, I think about it. It's just what's happening then. That kind of presence is extremely therapeutic. All the way up to the day, probably will shave years off my life. Just being a nervous Nelly. Preparation plus timing plus luck. I've done all my prep work. The timing is when the camera goes off. The luck is our dice. And go with that. That's why I have all those voices.
Just in case,
that was my whole life. Right. I was leading up to me having to do those voices on this stream. Yeah.
You ready to play a not so heavy character if Titus doesn't make it?
I would love it. I want Titus to make it more, and I know he does as well.
He does as well, and I do as well. You have a lot.
If we do another game,
you have a lot of pissed off fans too. if he got killed. I'll still kill him if it comes down to it. But I
Who's Titus' twin brother? Midas.
Midas.
Yeah, his gold hair. Yeah,
his
the
gold
only
hair.
difference. Barodentron.
Same scar.
On the other side.
Yeah, there you go.
Just a mere. Damn, we're lazy. The budget's getting
How did I miss that? Of course, it should.
Budget's cut.
Of course, it should be on the other side. Okay, second to last question. This is kind of a throwaway and a funny one. Who is Toby actually going to play?
Who is he actually going to play?
Who is he actually going to play?
At the table?
Mm-hmm. Oh. He's just playing KPO the whole campaign, right? You're just going to become best buds, braid each other's hair, give each other mani-pedis.
I mean, if he hits his head and becomes a different person, I'm more than... Jared mentions all about forgiveness.
Right. That's true.
You want to take the J on the hand or the J on the face? That's fine.
That's true.
That is the punishment but I think slaving the undead with no souls is kind of unforgivable for Jared Mentrum's charter as a city and as a nation.
So he'd have to give up that nasty habit before...
Yeah, I think so.
Before that. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, that's like... the most perverted slavery,
It shouldn't, I guess this is breaking news, but it shouldn't surprise anyone that once KPO's run is over, however long or short that may be, I kind of like him at the table.
I love it.
And so does everybody else.
It's an insanely contagious energy, and I love it.
His sense of timing is really damn good, too.
100%.
Really good.
Him part of this fellowship would be beneficial to everyone. I love that.
So, last question.
And,
No, finish.
Good. I was going to say we can dress him up to be figureless, his nephew.
Oh, we'll just kind of prop him up.
100%. Yeah. Give him a cloak. Done.
Yeah. Perfect. I mean, he does love, he does love...
pretty good wizard.
Yeah.
He's a wizard. I don't know.
Magic and,
I don't even know the classes of the characters around this table. I know Merrick's. That's really about it. So those at home, don't ruin it for me. I got no idea.
Well, very few people, unless they were really paying attention and coming through that wiki, I think at least one fan had got it. Oasis class.
Don't tell me.
Yeah. But I've deliberately been pretty evasive about that.
Oh yeah.
It is out there now, but you got to comb.
Oh yeah.
So last question, question I ask everybody. I'll phrase it. I think I can do it more succinctly now. Does what we're doing feel different to you? And you are the first active player I've asked this, because I put it to Anika as well, but she had already had her last session with us. Does what we're doing here, does this feel like a new emerging art form, or does this feel like we're just riffing on live television or radio show or something else?
No, I think that this is probably the most unique, emerging medium for storytelling.
Like actual play.
Yes, actual play and storytelling, and yeah, absolutely.
Why? Why would you say that?
Because it has enough time and enough humanity for someone to actually completely relate to a character, because there is nothing pre-written. It is truly a vulnerable person, me at the table, making decisions for a vulnerable person that's at the game. It's in the game. And I think that everyone can attest to that. I mean, there's certain movies that I absolutely love. There's certain
of course,
mediums, video games, all that.
Yeah, books,
and you can make those types of choices, but everything is somewhat kind of pre-written. It doesn't matter if the game has 700 different endings. You can still play through it. You can still play it 100%.
You can go look it up.
You can look it up. Some people didn't wait until Two Towers to find out Gandalf came back as the White. Some people just like to know immediately. And the nice thing about this medium is that no one knows. Not even you.
Not really.
So it's entirely up to us to want to tell the story that we actually are completely immersed in. And more importantly, our characters get to tell the story. And that's why I think that this art form is just going to become more and more popular. All you need is dice and the rules. You could play it in any part of the world. Play it on a fucking boat. Don't need internet. Don't need nothing.
Done that.
Exactly.
Rock, paper. You don't even need dice. Rock, paper, scissors, baby.
20 times in a row. That's your D20.
Rock, paper, scissors. I mean, you could.
How long does it take us to get to Europe? Yeah.
That's like Morse code. No.
Oh yeah.
No, I mean you build a game where it's base 3. So it's like
That makes sense.
1 and 3, 1 and 9, 1 and 27. Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it did it. It actually worked. It actually worked pretty well, and we played. Those are some weird days. Try not to get killed in between playing. Trying not to get killed in a fantasy.
I mean, I don't want Titus to die, but oof,
Yeah.
God damn. Yeah, I mean that's the entire.
So you do think this is a new form of a new emergent art form that hadn't existed before?
I think that everyone's doing it their own way, and
That's another good point,
everyone's way is unique.
That's another good point. Yeah, every table really, truly is different.
Some are just absolutely hilarious, comic driven, all that. Other ones make you cry, and I was happy to be a part of it.
I can't think of a better way to end this. So
I love you.
I appreciate that.
I love all you guys too. Be a fan of everyone.
Be a fan of everyone. Mwah.
Wow.
All right, faraway friends, there you have it. That is our own Donny Hyland, who represents Titus, young Lord Vorn,
Heir to Germantum.
heir to Germantum, and hopefully survives, is still extant by the time your erudite eyes fall upon this gem.
And hopefully the young lion becomes
The Red Line.
The Red Lion, as opposed to the Black Griffin.
Yeah,
that's a different timeline.
That's a different timeline. We'll see. Kill Jeremy, you'll see what happens, bro.
We'll see what happens with that.
Raid
All
my
right.
ships.
Sorry.
No, you're good. There's always a good time for soliloquy. You know, I'm a sucker for a
written so many.
speech.
Oh God.
As you go out there, enjoying your days and hopefully enjoying yourself. Stay safe and stay curious. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thanks for watching.
Bye.